Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new here, you're so much welcome. Thank you. In Swahili we say karibu sana. Now today we are making this yellow. Isn't it amazing yellow? Ottoman. Inside it has a storage where you can store your toys, your warm blankets. On top you can sit on it. It's very comfortable. On the bottom you can move around with it. Isn't that awesome? Now, for you to see how I did this, you got to watch this video from the beginning to the end. And by the way, if you haven't seen the yellow Ottoman, you've got to go and see. It was my first project. Then the green one, now we're into yellow. It's your girl Njeri Kabiru. Thank you for being here. Let's start this video. First, I got to get the yellow paint. I didn't want the plain yellow, so I wanted a bit of mustard yellow. So for you to get a mustard yellow, you got to mix red and a bit of white, which is neutralizer, plus the yellow, and you get the mustard yellow. After that, I went home and I started painting. People ask me, what type of paint do I use? This is called synthetic paint. It's fast dry paint. So whenever I paint, it takes me about 2 hours. My tire is ready and I can work on it. I've tried other paints, they don't dry very fast. It takes me longer to make a project. If you want to use a lighter color, you got to use a primer. I did not use a primer. Primer is always white. And that made me go a few of rounds. For this yellow, I had to paint a bit of it, like maybe 3 to 4 rounds. Usually I like painting 1 or 2 rounds and we are good to go, but this one I felt like I needed to apply more and more because the black you could see. Now let's start this. After painting the tire, you got to get your material ready. That's a liner, that's a fabric. You need some legs for your Ottoman. 4 legs are good. Then you need stabilizers. That's why I have those woods. You need some screws, longer and shorter ones. You need gloves. You need a foam. You need 2 boards. Yes, I said 2 boards for top and bottom. You need a drill. Yes. After that, I used counter glue to attach my foam and my wood together. I don't know what other glue you can use. The woods I'm putting inside there, they're stabilizers. That means if your tire is not in a good condition, you can still use it by stabilizing it inside. Then I take my lining. Before putting the normal fabric, it's good to put a lining. It shapes your whole foam and wood together. Then once you put your fabric, it will be much more easier. Right now, I'm using just a normal paper punch, yes, paper pin or something like that. Paper clip, yes, paper clip. But later I went ahead and bought some pins for the fabric punch and I used it. Now after that, I'm cutting the fabric to put on top of my foam and my wood. This one, I'm making it for the sitting area, the top of this tire where people will sit on. That's what I'm doing. I know this, I just did it for the video, but once I bought the pins for the fabric, I went ahead and removed these small pins and used big pins to make it more strong. Yes, so you got to make sure your fabric is enough. I did cut off that piece because I felt like I could use it in any other way. Try and squeeze your fabric together, make it as neat as possible. This made me sweat a lot. You have to pull your fabric, and then I did not start pinning on one side. I made sure I pinned on both sides just to make sure I had equal fabric in the middle. As you can see, it's taking shape, and this fabric punch is not the best, but if you don't have the big punch, you can use this one. That's how you call it, do it yourself. It's a DIY. So anyway, I love coffee, so I took a break from everything and took my coffee. Then I went back to work. Now after pinning everything, you need fabric down there to cover the pins that you have been pinning and the fabric that looks very untidy. So you need to just have around fabric. So I did cut my fabric round, and there it is, fitting very well. You know, everyone knows my baby, she likes just being there, she thinks we are playing. Now this one I'm using the fabric punch. There it is. I punched across. Helps you have balance in your fabric where you're placing your fabric. And then I started pinning now the leftover spaces in between my cross. So, and once I was done with the pinning of all over the place, my top was complete. It was complete, neat, comfortable, presentable to my client, and there you go. I am almost done with this. So after this, we'll take another cup of coffee. Yes, another cup of coffee, and then we continue with our project. And as you're pinning your fabric, make sure you pin your pins in a close-up distance, because you're trying to put it together. There you go. We are having another cup of coffee, and after that we are going now to make the middle part neat and clean and covered up. So I'm putting the middle part. I know this is a different angle, it's a bit far. If you want to watch how the middle part is put together, go back to my previous video where I made the green Ottoman, because that was my main focus, showing you how to do the middle part. And I keep on folding the fabric on top so that it can look neat. And the top, you got to make it neat, because that's where your client sees. They will see the top part. So I keep on folding the small fabric, pinning it on the tire. Oh, I love this pinning. But after I was done with it, it felt like I had really worked out, like lifted something, because my hand was a bit hurting here and there. But I think you get used to it if you do so many of these. So I'm still doing the top part and trying to make my top part have pattern and equal. You know, it looks neat. It doesn't look like the handmade, it just looks like machine made. And when I was making this part, I just thought about life. What are the patterns in your life? What do you try and make very equal, very, you know, very good, very perfect? What is it? Can you please leave your comment down below and tell me what are your life patterns? So after that, I turned the tire upside down. This is the bottom side, that's why I didn't focus so much on painting on it, because my paint went so much around the tire. So the bottom part, since I knew I'm going to put it on a wood, I didn't focus so much on it. So as you're pinning your fabric, make sure you're pulling it to have this neat, equal center place. As you can see, I'm just pulling. I felt like there was so much tension on that fabric, so I decided to cut it a little bit. But I put my pin to make sure where I have cut will not run around. But anyway, I discovered that where you fold your fabric in, then you do not have to cut it. You do not have to feel like it has pressure. On the bottom side, I like putting a lot of pins, because that's where I can put random pins and no one will know. Just to secure everything, put a lot of pins. At the end, I like folding and pulling to a way that you won't know that's the ending of this. So as you can see, I'm about to, there you go, I am done with that part. Now we're going to put the wheels on the board. You remember we had two boards. One we have already used it on the top. Now this is the bottom board. I'm putting 2 screws. As usual, I put 2 screws first, check out if I've done a good job, instead of putting 4 screws and then later you have to undo all 4. So usually I do 2, and then after the 2 I will turn my whole piece upside down just to see if it's working together or if I need to undo anything. If I don't need to undo anything, I'll just add screws and then move on to the next part. Going back to the story, what are the patterns in your life? Do you even know the patterns? Are you doing something to improve on the patterns that you do not like? Yeah. So I have turned, I sit on it, move around it with it a bit just to feel how it's gonna feel. Now you see the screws, we're going to cover the screws, but before we cover the screws, we put the 4 screws now in each wheel. We had put 2, remember, just to test, take it for a road test and feel if its engine is working well. There you go. Sometimes I struggle with the screws, especially when I'm really tired. I struggle, and most of the time I don't like editing that out because I like just showing anyone else. This is do it yourself. You can do it yourself. All you need is to put some effort in buying the materials, sitting and putting it together, and at the end you will have done it yourself. So I'm putting the screws. I like putting screws that are same size because it will be easy to manage on the bottom instead of putting screws that are different sizes. These screws, most of the time, they are between 2 to 3 inches long. Yes. So there you go. Now you see I'm using a board, a cardboard or a box. Yes, a box. I'm using a box to cover up the sharpness of the screws, but then the box was not enough, so I decided to put a bit of foam just to protect my clients. You never know, a child might decide to sleep in the Ottoman and then later you're like being called about something was sharp. So I decided, let me just cover them up, and I pin it down, and then after pinning everything down, we're going to put a fabric on top of it that no one will know there's a box there and how it looks down there. So people keep on asking me how or where do I see this. These are things I just decided to come up with, and you know what, you keep on trying something, it will come up very nice. So my first Ottoman to ever make in my life was the pink one. If you haven't seen that video, I advise you to go and see it. I had not even thought of the center part, of the bottom part. I had not thought of that. Then after I finished it, because it was for a client, I just sat down and thought, how can I make this more better, more presentable? And that's where, of course, I woke up with an idea, and there you go, the idea worked. So where you see me adding foam, it's because once I put a tire, I would see a big space. So I decided, let me just add some foams there to make sure my bottom is even. And these things, sometimes when I'm talking, you might not understand, but once you start making them and doing them, it becomes very easy to understand. So we are going to screw the middle part and the bottom part together, and because we have put a fabric in between the tire, no one would know that we screwed these screws. No one can see that, and that's why I thought of putting the fabric in the middle. So usually I do 4 screws, look at it, was it even? You see, like that I had to undo it a bit because I felt like it was not even. After that, we screw the other side, and anytime you see a space in between, I would advise you to just screw it. You can use up to 8 screws to put everything together. And if you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel because I put up content to do with DIY, repurposing, showing up creativity and talent. Yes, every Sunday. And once you subscribe, turn on your notification button so that you get to know when I put up new videos. Then leave a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, let me know where you're watching from, which country, and also let me know what you want me to do next with the tires. Your comment is very important to me and to the growth of this channel. So, and at the end, I'm gonna ask a favor to all my viewers. Please share this content with other people so that we can repurpose our talent, we can repurpose the tires, and repurpose the creativity. What do you think? Let me know what you think about this yellow Ottoman. I know it's a bright color, it's an awesome color. And until the next video, I'm going to say bye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Before I leave, have a blessed day, smile a lot, and enjoy. Life is too short. Let's just enjoy the moment that we are here. So until the next video, which is on Sunday, I'm going to say ciao, bye, bye bye.